Now today we're doing a PCV valve replacement on a 2010 Subaru Impreza. This has roughly 146,000 miles, has not been replaced in some time. Typically, if you see oil consumption surging, if your vehicle's stalling, hesitation, just could simply be a PCV valve. This is less than $20. I'll have a link in the description box below. So that being said, let me bring you in for a close-up. We'll remove a couple of things and get clear access to the PCV valve. So the first thing we need to do is just clean up the area. It's very, very confined and tight. Now right up here, we need to remove the harness connector and pull off this hose. Now there is a locking pin here. So all that I'm using is a flathead, and I'm just rotating it slightly down toward my right. So in other words, slightly down. I want to just make sure this comes off its mount. And I'll give you a different view in a moment, but there you go. See how it comes off? So let me zoom the camera in. You may get stuck on this. Okay, so again, this little mount, you're just going to stick the flathead and just slowly rotate it. They do make a special plier specifically for this, but you really don't need it. And then where my index finger in, press down the tab. There we go. Get this, just move this out of the way. Now the next thing is we can simply pull this off if you want to. Okay, this is actually quite hard. I'll need to replace the hose as well. But take a look, we have the ignition wires, and these are numbered, fortunately. So right over here, not sure if you could see that. Hold on. So right here it's numbered. So this is the number 2 cylinder and the number 4 cylinder, okay? So coming back to this right here, just in case if you get lost, right here it actually tells you the number. So number 2, easy enough. Just in case if you mix these up, you know exactly where they go. So 2 is on top, number 4 is on the bottom. Very cramped, as you can see. Let's first remove this from the loom. Just take your time, be patient. Oh boy, it's tight. These haven't been off in years. Okay, took a good 30 seconds, but let me give you a different shot here. Now looking straight down, I may have to get a flashlight in there for you guys, but let me see if I can pull off this hose. I don't want to remove the air box if I can avoid it. In other words, that's, you have the air box here that leads to the air cleaner. I may have to remove it to reinstall the hose, but let's see if I can get this off here. On second thought, I'm just going to remove it instead of fighting it. This will make the job a little bit easier. These are just flatheads. Okay, so I'm twisting the hose, pushing up. There we go. Very, very hard, very, very brittle. Very good time to replace this for sure. And very quickly, just to give you another view with the hose off, there's the PCV valve, and wow, that does need replacement just by the looks of it. Now that's a 19mm fastener. Now in my case, I'm using a 1/2" drive. You can also use a 3/8 drive. I just prefer to have as much leverage as I can, and the handle on the 1/2" drive is just a lot larger and longer. Well, here we go. Make sure I'm on there well before I do this. There we go. Whoops, I dropped it. So here's the old valve on my left, and of course the brand new valve. In my case, this is a factory Subaru part. I didn't see a lot of aftermarket parts that were in stock, so I just got this off Amazon and had it within one day. And I will have a link again in the description box below. But as you can hear, you want to hear that clicking noise. You can barely hear it. I can feel it certainly when I shake it with the old one, but a very good time to replace it for sure. And then don't forget to check the hose. Look how hard this is. It's rock solid, so it really needs to be replaced. should have something here that fits. Oh, this is a little too thin, the diameter. I think this will work. So what I'm going to do, I'll install this hose here. I'll include the, I'll measure it in a moment. I'll include the diameter of the hose in the description box if you're curious. But I'm going to thread this back in the engine first, then remove this hose, and then tighten it down because it's sort of deep in the engine bay. So this will just be make it easier to start the threads. And very quickly, since I have the tape measure, the diameter I'm using is 3/8 of an inch. Let's just make sure this works. Okay, that's going to work perfect. So first I'll thread this on to the engine. Okay, and then grab the socket here and the extension. Okay, so the PCV valve is nice and tight. I'm just attaching the other end. Actually, before I do that, let me reattach the ignition wire. So don't forget, number 4 goes on the bottom. And number 2 goes on top. This guy goes back up here, which we'll do last. It's another hose. It's going to be a tight fit at first. Some guys will put a little bit of oil inside, but I'm not going to do that, to be honest. There we go. Regarding the hosing, you can typically, excuse me, a little cold out here, typically get it from local auto parts store. They'll just cut it to size. Okay, that's good to go. And then very simply, we'll just start up the vehicle and make sure we're in good shape. Now when you reattach the hose, there's a little notch. Just make sure the notch fits in that location. Okay, so we're in good shape. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.